Hello, everybody. My name is Bob Friedenthal. I'm the owner of MyCity.com, and I'm an internet junkie. I've been on the internet for 28 years, and I'll give you my contact information. If you would like to have a podcast done for yourself, please let me know. So you can reach me at 310-736-5787. It's a mobile number. My email address is bob@mycity. And on LinkedIn, you'll find me as Rob Friedenthal, spelled Friedenthal. I'm very pleased to be able to do an interview of David Carman. This guy is he's teaching me stuff. That's pretty interesting because he's in the crypto world. And I'm not very conversant on that, but he just taught me a slew already. So, David, why don't you start out with your contact information?
Sure. Thanks, Bob. My email address is D for David, my last name Carman, car is in an automobile, C-A-R, and then man is in one man, M-A-N, and then the number 23 at gmail.com. So dcarman23 at gmail.com, or you're welcome to call me on my cell phone, 312-203-3122, or if you like, you can reach me on LinkedIn, www.linkedin.com/in/my name, then David Carman.
Okay, excellent. So we're getting a little bit of a lag in this, but we'll see what it comes out once it's produced. So see if it either clears up or doesn't exist at all. So anyway, David, tell us what you do.
I'm a co-founder and board member of Global DCA, and that stands for the Global Digital Asset and Cryptocurrency Association. We're headquartered here in Chicago, and our mission is to develop and advocate for a global regulatory framework that facilitates innovation, that maintains fair and orderly markets, protects and serves the public interest, and maximizes economic opportunity for all participants in our emerging global digital economy. In addition to that, we do whatever we can to support our members to help them grow their businesses and help them answer any questions or problems that may arise within the crypto industry.
So this might be a difficult question, but what makes you different?
Well, we do have competition. There are similar type associations, but I think there's two key factors that differentiate us. One is this initiative began as a close, tightly knit group of people here in Chicago. And when you have a bunch of people who are in the same vicinity and are tightly connected and are well established within the industry, it helps to provide the foundation you need to get a major initiative like this off the ground. So that's number one. Although crypto is a global product and our SRO is global, and so we've been expanding beyond Chicago. We have members in the U.S., but we also have about 1/4 of our members are also overseas. Secondly, we do what we can to be open and inclusive and diverse. That's really what our culture is all about. And we're diverse in a number of different ways. We have members of all sizes, small, medium, and large firms. We have individuals who are just excited and interested in crypto. We also have a number of women. We have people of color. We're diverse geographically, as about 1/4 of our members are overseas. We're diverse in terms of our pricing structure. It's tiered so that obviously the bigger firms are going to pay more, but the individuals, smaller firms are going to pay a lot less. And if you look at the other associations, there's the Winklevoss twins have the VCA, the Virtual Commodity Association out of New York. There's also what's called ADAM, the Association of Digital Asset Markets out of New York. There's also the Government Blockchain Association in DC, and then there's the Chamber of Digital Commerce in DC. And all four are good organizations, but they've all gone off the big boys, the elite firms. And we're open basically to anybody as long as they meet two conditions. Number one, they sign and abide by our code of conduct and behave themselves. And secondly, they pay their annual dues. Beyond that, though, we really appreciate it when they're willing to jump in and join one of our committees, because that's where the real work is done to move this initiative and industry forward. Uh, Without that, we're not going anywhere. And then beyond that, we like when they are willing to open up their network and bring in other top-notch crypto professionals. So those are the four criteria we look at. The top two being, sign our code of conduct and abide by it, pay your dues. But beyond that, three would be get on a committee and really help do the work, and four would be to open up your network and help us expand the number of people that are involved in this initiative and help to drive it forward. So
Great. I love that explanation. Detailed but very accurate. Tell the audience who you want to meet by vocation. It's a tough question. Who would that be?
there's a lot of different players who make up the digital asset and crypto industry. There's the exchanges, here in the U.S., the big ones are Coinbase, Kraken, and Gemini. The derivative exchanges, you have the CME here in the U.S. The CBOE is getting ready to launch a crypto index, or maybe more than one probably. There's the trading firms, here in Chicago. We have DRW and Jump, which are two of the biggest over-the-counter trading desks for crypto in the world. There's a number of other proprietary trading firms, asset managers, broker-dealers, FCMs, hedge funds, family offices, service providers such as law firms that are heavily into providing advice in the digital asset and crypto field, the CPA and auditing firms that audit it and prepare taxes for crypto. Insurance is very important. In fact, they're probably going to emerge as one of the leaders, because if you want to get insurance, you have to meet their criteria. So how do they go about evaluating the risk of all these different firms that are involved in the crypto industry, such as miners or custodian that holds the crypto? So they're critical to this whole ecosystem. So there's many different professions and players that are integral to supporting and growing this industry.
If I asked you, not if, I'm going to ask you, what singular most important vocation that is missing that you would like to fill in? CPAs?
Well, if I look at our membership, I think probably what's at the top of everyone's list is to get the exchanges involved, because that's where the business is being done, right?
Yeah.
ATMs too, but
Yep.
far and away the business is done in these different trading venues or portals. So Coinbase being the biggest spot crypto exchange in the U.S., Kraken, Gemini, CME, CBOE, NASDAQ, ICE. There's a bunch of them. And then overseas, well, Binance is the biggest, but they have not been exactly pro-regulatory, and they've been having a lot of problems with the, with the regulators, so on and so forth. But I would say the exchanges would probably be number one.
Excellent. That's a great answer to it. And tell us where you can sell.
You mean the crypto?
Yeah. Where are you trying to approach? You discussed it with me a little bit earlier, but you're basically a worldwide organization.
Right. Well, crypto recognizes no borders. And one of the big challenges we have is trying to herd all the cats together, get all the good players who are in good faith to, sit down together and let's think through these key issues that challenge the industry. Right now, the single biggest problem with the industry is the lack of clarity and guidance from the regulators. One thing, and it's a big accomplishment, is to eliminate or at least minimize as much as possible the bad actors. But really the bigger problem is that the good actors are not clear what is or isn't legal. So they're not sure of what they can or cannot do. And that lack of clarity, it just holds the whole industry back. And basically, here in the U.S. with the SEC, they're regulating via their enforcement actions, kind of after the fact. That does not work well. You got to know ahead of time what's legal and what's not legal.
Right.
So, they just went after one of the bigger players, Ripple. Ripple's been around for years, and now all of a sudden they decide that what Ripple's been doing is illegal. I mean, have you ever heard of such a thing? You're breaking the law for a number of years, and finally the authorities decide that you are breaking the law. So that's the biggest issue. And because it's cross-border, well, listen, just to deal with the regulatory agencies in the U.S. It's a challenge, right? Because you've got the SEC, you got the CFTC, you've got FinCEN within the U.S. Treasury Department, you've got the OCC, you've got even the FDIC, you've got the IRS. You have so many different regulatory organizations that you have to deal with just here in the U.S., let alone overseas. And each jurisdiction overseas is going to have their own way of doing things, which is why we think in order to hopefully come to a consensus about what type of global regulatory framework we have, it's going to have to be principle-based. Because if you make it rule-based, it's not going to work. You're going to put everybody, paint them into a corner, and they're going to have different ways of addressing these key issues.
Yeah.
But to get all the cats, listen, just to herd all the cats together in Chicago is a major accomplishment. We're still working on it.
Yeah.
But that's going to always be an ongoing challenge to get everybody on the same page and working and collaborating together.
Yeah. Time will tell. Time will unravel all the issues that come out where the government has to get involved and all that stuff. They're going to have to do that at some point. Agreed?
Absolutely. And just dealing with China is going to be a big issue. So,
Yeah, I hear you. So
a lot of things to deal with.
So the next issues deal with referrals. So and that becomes an issue too. As you have the expanse of vocations, you're going to need to be referring business out to other companies like the insurance companies that you were mentioning earlier. So do you have any kind of formalized referral program?
No, that's something that our board has to think through, because we cannot be seen as favoring one of our members over the others. We don't have an exclusive, like we're only going to have one law firm and one CPA firm and one insurance firm and one exchange as a member. We're going to have multiple firms within the same industry competing against one another.
Yeah.
And so we have to be real careful about, and there's also legal ramifications too about that. We have to be very careful about how we address that issue. We want to do what we can to help our members, but obviously we got to go about it doing it the right way and dot all our I's, cross all our T's. So
you bet. Well, I have not to interrupt you, but I have a referral software that we should talk about. And it's based on 5 questions that are asked, which I'll get into later, but it might be a solution because it rates people based on how other people evaluate them being. For one, do they give referrals? Are they willing to network? What's their competence in their vocation and all that stuff? And then there's also triggering questions that do you ever get into asking trigger questions like, do you know anybody that? Do you ever get into anything like that?
Say again, do I know anybody what again?
Well, it's called a trigger question.
Okay.
And do you know anybody that is interested in crypto? Do you know anybody that works in the crypto world that deals with insurance? So those are trigger questions that you can ask along the way, and they become very, very powerful.
Well,
and
we try to be as open and inclusive and diverse as we can be. Anybody's welcome, as I said before, as long as they sign and abide by our code of conduct and pay their dues. Anybody's welcome. Obviously, realistically speaking, if we get a big name, if we get a Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, or we get the CME or CBOE, that's going to help raise our profile and draw attention and bring in more members and money and also give us more credibility in front of the lawmakers and regulators.
Yeah.
So there's no denying that. But having said that, we want to be as open and inclusive and diverse as we can be. Now, obviously, regardless of the name, those members who contribute more, whether it's in terms of money, time, connections, what have you, the more you contribute, the more influence you're going to have. That's only fair. And you can be a so-called small firm or even an individual, but if you're really willing to get on our committees in particular and do the work that needs to be done, that's going to, people are going to notice that. So the more, as the saying goes, the more input, the more output.
Yeah,
so.
You've made it quite clear of what your direction is, where you want to go, and all that good stuff. So I appreciate that, and I think we've really come to the end of this interview of who you are, what you're doing, where you're trying to go. And I think that's the key to people understanding you. And like I said, on LinkedIn, it's written text. It's flat. It doesn't get the emotion across, but you've made yourself quite clear of what you're trying to accomplish, and I commend you for that. So why don't you give us your contact information again?
Sure. Let me first say we have a free online conference next week that anybody's welcome to attend. It's on DeFi, and it's going to be Monday through Thursday, an hour and a half each day. Central Time, it's 11 to 12:30. One keynote followed by one panel discussion. Anybody's welcome. And if you're interested in attending, you can reach me either via my email, dcarman23, DCARMAN, and then Michael Jordan's number 23 @gmail.com, or my cell phone, 312-203-3122. And if you contact me, then I'll be happy to send you the flyer for the event, including the registration link. So but anybody's welcome, and it's a free online event.
There's also a website address if you want to share that right now.
Our website is, thanks, Bob, is global-DCA, D for David, C for Charlie, A for Arthur, DCA.org.
Great stuff. Okay, so, and again, my name is Bob Friedenthal. My contact information is 310-736-5787. It's a mobile number. You can call me or text me there. And my email address is bob@mycity.com. And if you want to catch me on LinkedIn, it's Rob Friedenthal. Again, the last name is spelled Friedenthal. So, David, thank you so much for this interview. I think people got a lot better understanding about who you are, and that's the most important thing in any kind of social media, is really to understand the other person. So I think we'll be signing off right now, and I appreciate your time. Thank you much.
Bob. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and your viewers.
It's interesting.
Thanks so much.
Interesting. I learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks.